have you all here tonight. My name's Steve Tello. I'm Associate Vice Chancellor for Entrepreneurship and Economic Development. By now, I've actually recognized some of your faces. And honestly, we're pretty excited that you all are taking time out of your schedule, and because we know that you're all pretty busy, to work with us on this Difference Maker Challenge. What we're planning to do, we have a few things planned for you this evening, and there is more pizza, so if you get hungry, feel free to help yourself. We know that pizza helps get students engaged in activities like this. It also gets faculty here. So what we're planning to do tonight, Dean Carter is here from the Manning School of Business, so we're kind of fortunate to have her here. She's actually been a bit of a mentor to me. She brought me into the business school, took a risk on me back in 2005. You did. You did. And she's been very supportive of the work that we've done around innovation and entrepreneurship and new programs, as well as getting international students here at the university. So I'm really happy that she could come and spend a few minutes talking with you. And then Professor Jordan, Ralph Jordan, who you may recognize, is actually going to spend some time doing a team building activity, because we figured before we get into all the nuts and bolts of how do you take this idea and turn it into a solution and then figure out all the resources, we figured you better get used to working with other people. And so that's why we're going to spend some time on team building. After that, we will actually give you a chance to talk more about your projects. And so part of what we want you to come out of here tonight with is the ability to share your idea, see if there's anybody else here who wants to work with you on that idea, or maybe you want to work on someone else's idea. And then finally, we'll show you the Team Maker database that we put together. So if you have an idea but don't have a team yet, don't worry, because we have some tools to help you do that. And so that's our plan for tonight, and we will get everybody out of here by 6:30. And so have fun. We'll be mingling. And Dean Carter, if you'd like to come on up and say hi.
Everybody for signing up and being here. This shows a certain amount of spark and a comfort level with being outside your comfort level. I wish there was a program like this when I went through school. I don't think we had anything like this. It's absolutely great. So I would encourage you to have fun, follow your passion, think about ideas or problems that really are meaningful to you, and think about possible solutions. The idea of working on something that you care about and meeting new people and stretching your abilities and oftentimes being outside your functional area. I mean, how many of you are in engineering? How many of you are in science? Business? Humanities, social sciences? You're all over the place, right? Have I forgotten anybody? Yeah. I mean, that's as good as it gets. So you've got different areas, you've got different backgrounds, different passions. That's absolutely terrific. I was trained as an accountant. I could do numbers. I love numbers. You can make numbers confess. You can do anything with numbers. Then when I moved up into administration, all of a sudden I was a dean. And you had to manage people. What you're doing tonight is you're learning about working with people, learning how to motivate people, how to understand why people might react in a different way to what you do. I mean, I'll tell you, I was completely outside my comfort level when I became dean, and I had to learn to manage people, work in a team, be a good team member, be a good team leader, motivate, actually have a vision, think about a vision. I hadn't even thought about a vision. Who has a vision? I was an accountant. So you have to think about ideas, and that's really what you're doing. So you're thinking about ideas, then you're communicating your ideas, you're getting others excited about your ideas, you're building a team, you're working together, and in theory you're going to do something. I mean, that's pretty darn good. So, basically I want to congratulate you all. You're out there, you're stretching a little bit, you're reaching a little bit. I'm really excited to hear about the projects that you're going to be working on. And I understand, so tonight you're going to work on team building, and then there's a series of these workshops where you're going to learn other parts that would be helpful to you, not only in this, obviously. This is going to help you later on. These are, like I was saying, these are the kinds of things I wished I had when I went through school. So basically just have fun, work hard. I'm over in the business school if there's any way I can help. If you are missing a team member, if you have ideas, I'm sure we can be creative. If you've got a partial team but you're missing somebody, let us know, and we'll be happy to help. Okay, so have fun with it, good luck, and I'll be around.
So now you see Professor Jordan is sort of sneaking around the room here. So he's up to something. What are you up to, Ralph? 5'9". 5'9". 5'9". Oh.
What I want to do with you this evening is to at least give you some things to think about with regard to team building. We often hear folks use the two terms interchangeably, groups and teams, but they're very, very different. And so what I'd like to help you understand as you embark on this journey to make a difference is some of the things you need to keep in your mind with regard to having successful teams. Because we have knowledge with regard to why teams fail. So just for a few minutes, I want you to think about the strength of teams. The strength of teams is really in the fact that we're all very different. We are all unique individuals. There's never been anybody in the world exactly like you. And it's those differences, that diversity, that really is the strength of teams. If you think about it, nobody's ever been exactly where you've been. Raised in your household, provided the wisdom of your parents and your relatives, the schools that you went to, the friends that you have, all of those experiences are really what makes you unique as an individual. And because we are all unique, we all see things differently. We can look at the same thing, and depending upon where we've been, the first attributes of that scene can be very different for each of us. And that's really the strength of teams. The strength is in the fact that we see things from different perspectives, we interpret things differently, we've learned different rules of thumb. Think about it for a second. If you walk into your dorm or your house and you turn the light switch and the light doesn't go on, the first thing that's likely to occur to you is that you need a new light bulb. But if you are in Central America, in a village, and you walk into the room and you throw the light switch and the light doesn't go on, maybe the first thing that occurs to you is that the generator's out again. You see what I'm saying? It's different rules of thumb, depending upon where and how we've been raised and what we've learned from those folks around us. That's what makes us unique individuals. And in Hindu, there is a word. It's called samskara. And samskara really, literally talks about the experience of our past lives, are what make us who we are. As we use it colloquially, samskara talks about the fact that we all have a worldview, our own unique filter, based upon what we think we know. It's how we make sense of the world, given our experiences. And none of us have had the same set of experiences. And that's really the strength of teams. When teams come together, it's a collection of individuals who are working towards a common goal, right? But they're all different. And if we can get those differences focused on the same vision, the same goal, then there's a richness that comes from the differences. But in order to capitalize on those differences, the team has to be in an environment where everybody is safe and secure in terms of critiquing one another, because that's how you get to the richest and most robust solutions. But we only critique when we care about something, and when we trust that the people we are critiquing will understand it's not personal, it is instead to get to a richer, more robust solution. And so that's the kind of thing we have to understand about teams. is that critiquing one another, criticizing one another, being open and honest is the strength of teams. If we're not willing to criticize, to help build on each other's ideas, we're not getting the full value out of the team. Does that make sense? Yes. Keep that in mind. The foundation for that kind of open and honest relationship among team members is trusting one another. And to gain that kind of foundation, we need to take time to get to know one another. It is the personal relationships that are the foundation upon which we can come to trust one another. So as you form your teams, as you embark upon your projects, make sure you take time among team members to get to know one another. If you don't do that, then you won't get that open and honest criticism. And it's that open and honest criticism which leads to the best ideas. Because you may come up with an idea that inspires me to think of something I wouldn't have thought of without your idea. That's how teams work. And that's the kind of energy and synergy that you're really looking for. See, groups don't become teams just because you change the name. There are things that you have to do to intentionally and actively transform a group of people into a functioning team. And there's really a recipe for success. And let me just share some of the elements with you before we move on in this program. Firstly, it's very important that you have clarity on what it is you're trying to do. And believe me, you need to write it down. Because there's going to be forces that tug you every which way. What you want to do is stay focused on what it is you're trying to accomplish. Secondly, everybody needs to understand what their roles and responsibilities are. If you're going to function as a team, people need clear direction in what their responsibility is to help us achieve that goal that we set for ourselves. You can never communicate enough. It is so important that everybody keep their eye on the prize and that everybody has visibility into what the other team members are doing so that you can continue to work together cohesively. You have to figure out how you're going to work together. That is so important. You got to figure out how often are we going to meet? How are we going to behave when in the meetings? How are we going to make decisions? Are we going to treat one another with the respect that we deserve? Are we going to treat one another the way we want to be treated? We want to make sure that everybody feels valued and respected on the team. What you don't want to have is people to emotionally withdraw from the team because of bad team behaviors. You need to hold each other accountable because what you're trying to do is so important and it needs everybody with all of their differences fully engaged all of the time. Balanced participation. There are some folks who are extroverts and they talk all the time. They draw their energy from being around other people. There are some people who are just as smart who are introverts. They draw their energy from within themselves. You need to be aware of the different personalities and make sure that you're pulling the introverts in, right? And that you are gently making sure the extroverts don't dominate the conversation. This is so important. Are you with me? Extroverts aren't smarter than introverts. They just like to talk more, right? So you want to make sure you get that valued input from the introverts by pulling them into the conversation and making sure they stay engaged, that they have an opportunity to speak their piece, to share their differences too. What I like to do is actually write down the ground rules of how we're going to work together. That way, when someone violates the rules and you want to gently point it out to them, it's not personal. you point back to the agreement that you made in terms of how we're going to work together. Lastly, we use the scientific approach. And what that means is we collect data. We deal from facts. We just don't jump to conclusions, but instead we make sure that we know what we're talking about. We take the extra step to collect the data so that we can make decisions based upon facts. So, to recap, let's start with a clear statement of what it is we're trying to accomplish. And let's write it down and agree on it. And then let's not shift that statement unless we all agree. And then let's write down the new one. What I'm trying to do is keep us aligned so that we don't drift out of alignment. Because what you're trying to do is important, and you need to make sure that everybody's fully engaged and working towards the same goal. Write down ground rules on how you're going to work together. Because you can always point back to the ground rules when somebody gets out of line and it's not personal. See, criticism is powerful and it's important, but it should never be personal. It should instead be focused on the issue and for the betterment of the team, arriving at a more robust, a richer solution. See, what I'm trying to help you do is to figure out how to work together to capitalize on the fact that you all see things differently. And it's your uniqueness that makes each of you special. And if you can form a team and achieve the right dynamics, then you can capitalize on those differences. But it needs to be intentional, it needs to be thoughtful, and you need to commit to one another that you're going to take the extra steps, not only to accommodate your differences, but to capitalize on those differences. Does that make sense? There's a lot to team building, but the foundation is trust. It's trust. The trust that we can criticize one another and it's for the betterment of the team. In order to build that trust, take time as you form the team to make sure you begin to form those personal relationships, which will allow you to later be open and honest with one another. Okay?
Now's the chance. We want to learn more about what you all are doing.
My project actually, my goal is a twofold thing. I'm actually a pre-vet student as well. So what I'm trying to do right now is to incorporate animal shelters and the lack of volunteers that are involved in the animals that are there and tie that into correctional facilities, women's correctional facilities primarily, where those women are in need of a lot of support, a lot of rebuilding for their self-esteem, their self-worth, and these animals are also in need of compassion and also just being socialized. So it's a matter of getting them incorporated into the correctional facilities because those women, these animals aren't judging the women, and the women just need companionship, and those animals are providing them with that, that base that they can't get because the prisons are already overcrowded. So this is really just a social justice aspect of it. There are already projects in place right now, but nothing like this at all. Nothing that addresses a larger, like it's usually like 1 or 2 inmates. That's it. I'm already working with the Connecticut Corrections Department down in Niantic, Connecticut, and I'm trying to bring it up here at this point to the Massachusetts. I'm from New Hampshire, so the Massachusetts, New Hampshire area. And I do not have, as I said, I'm a hard sciences major, so I don't have anyone. I'm working with criminal justice right now and health services, but I'm looking for folks who are in other departments. It's a little outside of my field right now.
I'm a criminal justice major. I'm a second semester sophomore, and I also volunteered at an animal shelter, so if you would like help with your project, I'm more than willing to do that also.
Business major, currently minoring in computer science also. My idea is pretty simple. It's like a safety app for iPhones or Android smartphones. Nowadays you can send, like, they tried out this thing with like emergency texts, but it didn't really work out. My solution is a little bit more robust. A lot of times when you witness a crime or you are participating in a crime, not like you're doing the crime, but you're in a crime, victim of a crime, you don't have time to call police for help. My app would kind of give out most phones nowadays have GPS capability, so it'd be easier to send like almost in a text form a GPS coordinate with like your current location and like quick summary of what the problem is. You could pick from like carjacking or like it's like almost like a laundry list of different like crimes that you could be in right now. And it'd be an easier way to get that information out to local authorities, and I think it'd be fairly easy to implement too. But it's something that it's somewhat lacking, and I definitely think it could be useful for lots of people around here because everybody has phones.
Yes, technology as a means of tracking a car from a central computer. Most GPSs actually do this. That's how they're able to tell you where you are. But I want to develop a program that can actually keep track of cars. The eventual goal would be to figure out some kind of interface that would allow this program to control your car while you're on the highway, and keeping the positions of all other cars using this computer. You'd be able to essentially have a computer drive your car while you're on the highway and fix traffic forever. Well, help traffic, that's never going to be fixed entirely, but without having to completely restructure all the infrastructure we put in place.
Yeah, collect a bunch of cans, and then I could get some volunteers to help me bring them to the redemption centers, get some of that money, and donate it to, well, I was thinking poverty, or just open for ideas for charities.
All right.
All right, everyone. If you don't mind, just please grab one of the TeamMaker platform instructions, and I'm just going to run through them with you shortly. I'll try to get you out of here in the next couple minutes. So the whole point of the TeamMaker platform is to facilitate team building. So whether you have an idea, you don't have an idea, you need more teammates, or you just want an idea about a project, you come to this website, and this will help you out. So first off, you go to our website, which is www.uml.edu/differencemaker, and that will take you here. And then from there, on the left-hand sidebar, you're just going to click the idea challenge. And then this is all the information of our the challenge coming up in April. So you're just going to go down to the TeamMaker link. And then from here, there's different options that you can choose, so I'll run through those. Build a team can be used if you have an idea, or if you have team members, or if you're seeking more team members. So from here, you would click Build a Team, either on the left-hand side or this link. And then that will take you to the application. So you fill out the application with all your information, and then you fill out your current team status. So it can be open or full. So if you already have enough team members with the skill sets that you need, you can just put full. And then if it's open, other people, you can look for other people to join your team. So, so once you submit your application, you go under the current projects link, and then that's where your application will show up. So for instance, I think there's already one under here. So these are all the current projects. So far we have one in here. So you would just click this title link, and then that would bring up all the information about the team and their skill set. So if you were interested in this idea, you can just contact that person directly. And then you can hopefully join their team. So the next link to go over would be join a team. So this is even if you have an idea but you're looking to join a team maybe that has already started to form around that certain interest of yours, you would click the join a team link, and then you would fill out this information. And then once you submit this information, it would be under the current seekers. So if you fill out build a team, that information will be under current projects. And then if you fill out the join a team, you'll be under current seekers. So right now we don't have any current seekers at this time, but if you had a project and you were maybe looking for someone with a business background, you can search through the current seekers, and if you see someone with the set of business skills that you'd like, you can contact them directly and then try to facilitate team building that way. Any changes that need to be made to this, you can just email our Difference Maker email, which is differencemaker@uml.edu, and then the administrators, Ha and I, can go in and we can update any information. So if you decide to join a team or add people to your team, you can just contact our email and we can update it in the database. So that was basically it. Build a team, join a team, and then the current projects, current seekers. So if anyone has, and then I wrote out all the instructions step by step. I tried to do it very clearly.